You're listening to ProBooth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
Welcome to ProBooth Talk, everyone. Lap.
Hi, everybody. We got an interesting topic today.
Yeah. On the subject of interesting topics, you look different to me. Do you have some contacts going on? What's?
Yeah.
Well, beautiful. I love it. I was looking my screen's blurry, but every now and again you'll come into focus. I'm like, Lap looks different today. Yeah.
I think I look different most days I get on here, though, depending on if it's a good day or bad.
Sure. I think they're all good days, but your hair changes a lot and your makeup changes sometimes, but your eyes have never changed. So it caught me off guard.
Yeah. Do you like them? They're not
I do.
bad, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Back to the interesting topic. It's something that we see come up quite a bit, and in our private conversations, people complain about it a lot, but it's never going to end. But we still want to address it. These vendors that push the perception of photo booth industry being like a get rich quick, and they even go so far as to have their ads with money flying through the air, and it's just
I haven't seen those. I haven't seen that.
Yes, they're there. I'll be sure to send you the next one I see, because they come across my feed a lot. And I've got a personal story with one of them that always ticks me off, and I won't throw them under the bus. I won't say their name or anything, but they do market very heavily in all these different groups and stuff, and they always say they may be the ones that have the money falling, as a matter of fact, but they say, make your investment back with an event, and have these outrageous stories about how someone was working 9 to 5 and just couldn't keep up, and then they finally retired because they bought a photo booth or a 360, and say, people are earning $3,500 per 360 event, etc. But then this company also, in addition to selling 360s, they rent 360s. And about a year ago, they were at a wedding show with us, and guess what they were renting their 360 for? $600. $600, not the $3,500 that they are advertising. And it just,
that's not
so
surprising.
not only are you competing with your clients, but you're undercutting them significantly. So it just left a very bitter taste in my mouth. But anyone that's successful in this industry will tell you that it is not easy. There's nothing easy about it, just like any other business.
Right.
There's no get rich quick. I've had clients come up to me. One of my first events, actually, someone came up to the photo booth and they told someone next to them, see, this is what I was telling you about. You just buy this machine, then people just start giving you money to come to their weddings. And just thinking if that were true, people just start
the machine
giving
that
you
prints money. I
Yeah.
know that's a concept, like the photo booth that prints money.
Yes.
It's so far from it. It's such. Yeah, I've seen some of these. Nothing extreme like money flying from the sky. I haven't seen money falling from the sky like that, but I've seen an onslaught of just vendors that are pushing how easy this is, especially the mirrors. I know we talked about this before, how they sell the mirrors as just being just this money maker. And I mean, yes, the photo booth industry definitely has amazing opportunity. There's people in our industry that are making, 6-7 figures. We've brought this up in the past, but we're not just buying a machine and printing out money. And it literally is not one event that you're winning back that money. And even if you do, even if you're lucky, where I know there are some companies that, they land amazing contracts, their first event with no past experience, and they somehow make it through that event. Yes, they're able to earn back that initial investment. They are the exception, and they're able to earn that initial investment. But you're not factoring in all the operational costs it takes to maintain and grow and continue to run your company. It is not just, sometimes I see people talk about I have $7,000 to invest in a photo booth company. That is just your initial investment. That is a very small portion of your actual operational costs once you get going. I mean,
and you need so much more than equipment. So that 7,000 is just not going to be.
Yeah, everything starts adding up. And I didn't come from a business background when I first started. This was a hobby that just grew for me. And I had that mentality. I went into it thinking, oh, I'll just buy. I think back then I bought I think I bought a photo booth for like a shell. It was not the whole photo booth, you guys. It was a shell just so that I had the presentation. And it started like, I think it was $1,400. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. I'm going to like, I thought that was like my largest investment. $1,400 for a shell seemed like such a big investment back in the day for me when I was, I was just a hobbyist, but things start adding up. I used to do props, $50 package of props, and you don't need one prop set. When you start offering props, you start like picking up different themes and backdrops stands, and everything starts adding up. And at the end of the year, I realized, wow, I did not make a profit. Not only did I not make a profit, I'm in a deficit. Like I paid to go to work this entire year. The whole time throughout the year, I'm sacrificing my personal time, not realizing. And I'm thinking, back then, I think we talked about this before, like when I first started, my rentals were 125 and then I moved it up to 350. And I thought, wow, 350, that's the paper costs. What is paper? What's a half roll of paper? Like $50 or so. And I thought, oh wow, the paper only cost me $50. I'm profiting $300. And I was just thinking, oh wow, this is such an easy gig. Such easy money. And when I did my taxes at the end of the year, I just cried. Like, how the heck was I in such a huge deficit thinking I was in a profit? I was like making profit and I wasn't. So
yeah. And you see that argument a lot. A lot of people say, well, my paper, I only spend like $15 on paper per event. And after that, it's just the gas in my car. And it's
pure profit. Yeah.
It's
not.
Just not.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to come at this like we're discouraging new. So the reason this kind of came up right now is a friend of mine in the industry, the wedding industry in Las Vegas. She works for a DJ company, or with a DJ company, came to the office last week and told me, hey, I'm going to start a photo booth business. I just want to get some feedback from you. And like, I don't want to discourage her, but I also want to be realistic because most people aren't realistic. I don't want to come across as like, don't join because I don't need the competition. But also I don't want to be like,
it's not.
Like, jump in here. And because like realistically, I mean, at the bottom, when you first start, like you're not my competition. People like to say that their market is saturated, their cities are saturated. And that may be true, but as a new company, your geographic is going to be saturated and your demographic is also going to be saturated because there are so many new companies and companies that haven't broke through yet that you're competing with, and you're only competing on price, which makes it very hard to get out of that low price structure, because if you don't have the history and the relationships, then all you could do, the only tool in your bag at that point is price. Fortunately, I've made it past that, so I don't really have that much competition because I've got like 3 or 4 companies that I actually actively compete with, because like if you're charging $300, your clients are not my clients. So I'm not competing for those jobs with you. But so I have been fortunate enough to be successful, and it can be done certainly still today. It's not like too late to get into the industry, but it was very difficult. Like I didn't pay myself at all for the first 2 years. I'm fortunate enough that my wife makes enough money that we were able to afford our lifestyle and our bills and things. And she works for the government. So we had really good insurance. She has a 401k. And without those things, I don't know that I could have really succeeded, honestly. So I just poured everything back into the business, whether that was new equipment, whether that was marketing, upgrading the website, or whatever I had to do. I had no expectations of paying myself for the first 2 years at all. And even still, after that, I didn't pay myself much at all. Like, it wasn't until just before COVID where I started earning a real living. And then COVID came. And then after COVID, I wasn't able to pay myself again because there's this massive growth. And to take advantage of that growth, I had to, put all the money back into the company again. So it's a roller coaster and it's difficult. It's just like any other business. You have to be really, really good at money management, because like here in Vegas, and I know everyone else has different seasons, but our season, like we're dead in the summer and you may be dead in the winter, depending on where you live. But, how are you going to pay your bills during those dead seasons? You need to be able to have a very good system in place to where, you're not just spending money as it comes in, because no matter how big you are, tomorrow's not promised, and summers are slow and you're still hustling for every job. So you need to be disciplined enough to build a very big savings account so that you're able to live through those slow periods. And, that planner that you absolutely love each other and you guys go to lunch all the time, I mean, that relationship feels so solid, but tomorrow she may find her new bestie that just opened a photo booth company and all that income is gone overnight and there's nothing you really can do about it except for start looking for the next planner or the next DMC and stuff. So very difficult, very difficult. Certainly not a get rich quick. If you're coming into the industry, like, you have got to be dedicated and prepared to wear many hats. Unless you've got a lot of money, you're going to be doing your own SEO, your own marketing, your own social media. You need to be able to, like, none of these photo booths are as easy as the vendors make them sound either. Like, we have every event that we do, we have someone at our office doing tech support. And I'm actively, one of my biggest tasks right now, my own personal projects, is building out a chat, a custom GPT that can do some of our tech support that our agents, our hosts can message and get some tech support solutions to kind of lighten the burden of our in-house tech support. But like I guess not every event, but every day that we're having events, there's a reason we have tech support here. It's not just a backup plan. It's something that is used every day. Like,
frequent, yes.
Yeah, you need to know tech support. You need to know your systems, so it's not, if you're scared of Windows operating systems or wires or plugging things in, this may not be for you.
I say, for anybody that is thinking about starting, even as saturated as the markets are, if you have it in you, it's inevitable for you to be successful. But it's not about the equipment you buy. It's not about if you buy the 360 or if you buy the photo booth. It's all your own willpower. Like, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but you definitely can start a business in the photo booth market now and still there's a lot of companies that I've seen that have grown, just in the last 2 years, even in the saturated market. It's still fairly new. I think our industry is still fairly new. Like, it used to be something of a luxury, and now it's, at all weddings and a lot of these corporate events, they have to have a photo booth now. Before, the conversation was completely different. It wasn't, we have to have a photo booth. It's, if we have extra money. Now it's almost one of the central things that they need, just like you need a DJ, just like you need a wedding dress. So there's definitely opportunity. And I don't want to say I hate that they're marketing that it's easy, because I feel like some people, when they see that, it might get their gears going and then they jump in, they think it's easy. Like, when I jumped in, I thought it was easy. And then as I started seeing all the tech issues, as I started seeing equipment failing, as I started seeing wires failing, I learned to adapt to that. And, I adjusted, and I had to step up my own personal games to be able to hang in what we do. So, I mean, if you have the grit, I guess is the best word I could think of, you can make it happen. You can make it work. I mean, you can't, your photo booth business can technically print money, but it's not a simple buy the equipment, drop it off, and collect your paycheck. It's not anything like that. You really have to get down to the nitty gritty of learning software, learning hardware, learning lighting. Even if you're using an iPad booth, you still have to understand basic concepts of lighting. So you're going to have a huge learning curve. You're going to have, a lot of sleepless nights as you're learning tech support. I mean, if you're ready to invest, do it. But don't think that you can buy a machine and just start sending it everywhere and start making money without any extra effort. It doesn't really work like that.
No. And like I said, it's not too late. There's still room for people to be successful. But if this discourages you from starting, then honestly, good, because it probably isn't for you. A lot of people that join the industry would probably wish that someone had discouraged them, because PBX, we talk about it so much and we are a huge advocate for it, but 95% of the people at PBX are in their first 6 months to 1 year of business. And that should say something about the success rate of photo booth companies. So many start and they're ambitious and hungry, and 8 months later, they're posting their equipment for sale and they wish that they had never got into it. It's a lot harder than they expected. So I just want to set realistic expectations. We've certainly had, there's one guy in particular, he may have existed before COVID in Vegas. I'm not sure. I got wind of him after COVID. And just as an example of still being able to make it, just 4 years in, he went from someone that I didn't even consider a competitor to a competitor. And now he is not a competitor anymore because he's doing bigger things than me. And so he has just grown and exploded really, really quickly and made a very awesome company here in a very saturated market. So it's definitely possible. You like this person has perseverance. He's got the technical background, and he's very business savvy.
The creativity is huge too.
Creativity is very, very creative.
It's big in our market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still there, but, and also, like, do you have your weekends? Like, people talk about, like, losing their weekends in this industry, but growing up in Vegas, like, I never had weekends. Like, it's a 24-hour town. So even, like, as a kid growing up, getting my first job and stuff, we always worked weekends. Biggest thing for me, and one of the biggest things I look forward to with, like, retirement whenever I end up, like, selling my business or whatever I do, is getting December back. Because, like, you don't just lose, like, the weekends. Like, I miss Christmas. Like, I still have Christmas with my family, Christmas Day, but Christmas, like, it's October 1st and then it's Christmas Day, so you don't have any of that Christmas spirit. That entire season is dead. It is just the grind. It is so hard, like, trying to decide when you have enough time to sleep. And I really look forward to having Halloween and Christmas and that entire
Thanksgiving
back.
Instead of just showing up for and eating and then going. So
there's a lot besides money and skills. You have to be willing to give up those times with your family, and I mean, no one's booking jobs on Christmas Day, so you still can be with your kids and family on Christmas Day. But
some people are working Christmas Day, but that's on you.
Well, yeah, you have to make that decision. But I've never even had a quote for Christmas Day personally.
I be getting them, but no, I
really?
I don't want to.
Yeah, when
Christmas, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, New Year's Eve certainly, but right up to like 3 or 4, well, like a week before Christmas. I mean, it goes by so quick because it's so busy, and it sounds great. You're like, I love busy because that means money, and I do too. But I really miss having that Christmas season. Like, thank goodness my wife takes care of all that, the gift buying and doing all that and keeping things alive, because I just, like, my kids definitely know when they're opening presents, they know that I'm seeing the present for the first time as well as themselves. They're like, thanks, Dad, this is what you got me. I can't. So
that was a great gift. That's a great gift. No, I operate off fumes. Like, October all the way to New Year's Day for me, like, I'm in like zombie mode. Like, I don't even feel like I'm present, just because you just don't get very much sleep. You're just grinding. If you're not busy with the events. So if you're not that busy in fall yet, when we're prepping for December, and then October is really busy for us too, right? You don't have events all those days, but you have to prep all your gear. You have to, like, reset a lot of your equipment. So a lot of it is on-site events, but a lot of it is also the back-end stuff that starts wearing you down, like resetting all your equipment, making sure you're organized, and staffing, and logistics. Logistics is a nightmare during these months. So it's very overwhelming. So, I mean, like, these commercials that they're sending out, I mean, I guess it just pushes manufacturers to put out, to, like, compete in terms of, like, equipment, because they're selling, like, new booths and new concepts. I guess that's good for us. I don't know, Jason. What do you like? What when you see these ads? Like, do you just? What are your thoughts when you see it?
I see used equipment being sold. Like, I'm like, yeah, do I want that? Should I follow this person? The trouble with it is, I prefer the men booth as you do.
I'm guilty of that too. But
the new companies don't buy the men booth, so there's not a lot of used men booths for sale. Like, because they're typically out of the price range of newer companies. So
that's true. And then the ones that have them don't want to sell them. So that's very true. But used cameras, used flashes, you get those used Surface Pros and used iPads. You can pick those up for pretty cheap.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get into the business, definitely look at the photo booth marketplaces, because people are going out of business just as fast as they're coming into business, and there's
a lot of equipment for sale. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check that out. And I guess we mentioned that, like, the time and the money, and I briefly mentioned, I guess not briefly, I've mentioned my wife a couple times, but that's just as important. Like, you need, like, some kind of support system, because besides someone, like, backing you up and supporting you and getting the gifts from your kids when you can't, like, emotionally, and like there's a lot of stress. It's just, again, like any business, it's very difficult, and it's important if you have someone hopefully there that can help you through and get through all of that. And I don't know if I should, maybe I'll delete this before we post this, but sneak preview, I guess, to a episode that we are planning, the Lap had brought up, is something that is kind of aimed at like the women in this industry that are also raising families. And I'm going to take a step out of the podcast for that episode and actually bring my wife in to have that perspective of the people behind the curtain that's doing things that aren't the face of the company, but also just as responsible for a company's success because they're taking care of a family and doing the things that sometimes get, I don't know, taken for granted by people like me. So I think that'll be really good, just a complete women's perspective to the industry from both the owner and the owner's spouses and whatnot. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. My wife's not really looking forward to it, but she's, as long as you're willing to lead that episode, she's more of an introvert than me. So but she'll do great. Let's see. So I grabbed a couple questions from ChatGPT. What's the biggest misconception new photo booth owners have about the business? I mean, I think that's pretty much the subject of the episode, that it's easy. You're going to be printing money. Jobs are just going to be falling in your lap. And it's, I mean, you're going to be hustling for every job you get, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, one of the things I feel like a lot of new photo booth owners, or even like existing ones that have been doing this for, 3-4 years, I feel like one of the things that a lot of people overlook is the sales side. Like, there's people who understand the marketing side. They understand how to get their name out there. They understand networking, but like, there's not a big emphasis on the sales side of what we do. So you can put out amazing product. You can be amazing at what you do, but if you don't know how to close a sale, it's almost pointless. Like, if you don't have any sales experience, I feel like a lot of us need some training on like photography 101, sales 101, marketing 101. So like a lot of basic business concepts that, many don't have experience with. You do need that core knowledge to help grow your company, because otherwise you're just fumbling around and kind of getting lucky with jobs. Like, people ask me a lot of times, like, how was I able to be successful? I have 13 years worth of commission sales experience under my belt. So not only do of course, I've like learned systems, I've learned workflows, I've learned to understand the software and lighting concepts and stuff like that. I'm a self-taught photographer, but the reason why I'm able to close sales is because I have a very extensive sales background. So I'm able to convince people to buy into me versus just having, instead of just saying, oh, you need this photo booth, this for you. I understand how to close the sale, how to like qualify them, things like that. So I feel like a lot of people coming into this business overlook that. It's such a huge, I don't even know how to emphasize how big of a deal having like a sales background or understanding the sales process altogether. I don't know how to like convey how important that is, because that's the difference between like Joe Smo winning the job versus me winning the job. Like, if you have zero sales experience and even if we delivered at the same quality of photo booth service, the photo quality is exactly the same. Even if we're on par with everything, and they had to match up you with no sales experience and with me with 13 years of sales experience, I guarantee I'm going to win that event. Just because I have that background. I don't know how to convey it so the owners can understand that, though. Like, I try to talk to people about it, but.
Well, I think the important thing to know, like, people see successful companies like ours and say, well, if they did it, I can do it. And it's true, but I want to make sure it's clear that, we didn't just get lucky. Like, Lap had all that experience. I started my first business when I was 22, and I haven't had a job since. So last 24 years, 25 years, I've been a business owner in some capacity. So I've got tons of website experience, tons of SEO. I've got a marketing degree. I have dealt with customers. I've done money management. I've done my own QuickBooks. So I've got like 20 plus years of structuring businesses and knowing workflows and ways to make things more efficient. That's why I came into this knowing that I couldn't pay myself for a long extended period, because I know as starting a new business, you need to be able to feed that business and let it grow and whatnot. So I didn't have any sales experience. In fact, I'm horrible at sales. And when I started this, all my businesses previously have been very back end, not client facing, which is over the last 20 years, 25 years, made me extremely introverted. If you met me 11 years ago when I started this sort of company, you would not recognize the person that you're talking to now or listening to now, because the photo booth company has helped me become more extroverted and make it easier for me to talk to people and whatnot, which is a skill set I like my first couple of events, like I set it up and I like hid behind the back. Like,
wallflower.
I didn't talk to people. People would be like, "Are you in line here?" I'm just like, it was pretty bad. But I did have the other things that I could fall back on, and I fortunately was able to learn the sales side and get better at that. But it was years before I would like pick up a phone and talk to somebody. I did everything through email, and now, and I still see some successful boothers say that, like they don't talk to anyone on the phone, and we are the complete opposite. Like we will get on the phone with you as soon as we can, so, and I think that's really important.
But it's also the ones, I feel like ones that don't get on the phone, they just book them. Their photo booth company is structured and it targets a different type of clientele than the type of clientele that your business and my business targets. So we target like, high-end clients with like very specific needs, so those, we have to get on the phone with them so that we can talk to them about what their event needs are and how we can, fill that. There's a lot of companies that are very like, kind of like Walmart style, like cookie cutter. Like it's just a basic booth, drop it off. So they don't have to talk to anybody because they literally, it's just, they're putting in an order. It's like ordering a pair of shoes, so it's very different. Like when we're talking about stuff like that, you have to decide, of course, what kind of you have to decide what kind of company you want to be and then go from there. When I say you need sales experience, I'm talking about like, if you're trying to be that photo booth company that's charging like a premium, not everybody wants to be a premium photo booth company. Some companies want to be just like volume. Some companies want quantity versus, quality versus quantity. And that's the way my company is structured. So for me, the sales is important because I really have to convey to my clients, like, why are we, 3 times the cost of like someone they found on Craigslist, 4 times the cost of someone they found on Craigslist,
Wow,
but,
is Craigslist still a thing? I haven't heard those words for...
I live under a rock, but that's what I remember when I first started. I remember competing a lot with people on Craigslist. Like, people always reference...
I agree. 10 years ago, I was the Craigslist person. I was advertising on Craigslist, but...
I was too, but,
but I forgot it even existed.
Oh, man, you feel so, like I'm so old right now. So aged right now. But yeah, like, core like business skills, even if you don't have like a business background, like you're going to have to develop it. You're going to have to learn it, like what Jason said, he didn't have the sales background, like, and he eventually had to learn it. Like you really are not going to be able to just buy a booth and go start selling it and dropping it off and just like hire. Like I've seen some companies that buy up a couple booths and then they go onto the boards and they're like, okay, so how do I get this? How do I just like get this started so I can start like hiring like 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds to start like delivering these services? And it's like, you can. There's so much technical background behind it. Even on the basic like iPad booths, like you still have to understand how to like get into the back end. You have to understand like networking, things like that.
So one of the things that I like to tell people that are kind of considering getting into the industry is especially these companies that are starting like $350, $450 and don't realize how much it costs. If you take into the cost of the booth and the software and the paper and the learning and all the time you spend with graphics or paying for graphics, talking to people that don't book, talking to the people that do book, collecting all that information, the amount you're making per event is so low that, I mean, honestly, you would probably make more money if you just went to work for another photo booth company.
Yes,
and
yes.
And then you could just do the events and not worry about any of that other stuff. You'd probably make more. And, maybe if it's a growing company, maybe you can eventually move into their sales or move it and grow with the company. And again, make more, risk less, get paid from day one. So they're like, I know a lot of people want to do it for themselves and they see companies making $500,000 a year and $300,000 a year. But again, it's a very small number of people that get to that success level. Like, I don't know what the percentage is, probably like 2%. I mean, percentage wise, I mean, look at how many
versus all the new people entering you would be
entering
right.
and leaving
Yeah.
constantly. Just my example of PBX, like 95% being like first year photo booth owners. And the next year, it's
That's
also first year
crazy.
photo booth owners. And
I
the
didn't
next year
know
is still
that.
first photo booth owners. So it's there's just such a high drop off that a very small percentage gets to that point. And even still, you're not considering like the company that makes $300,000 gross, the owner's probably making, $50,000. It's very expensive companies to run, or 80,000 or something that you could probably make without the risk, with all that, just by growing with another photo booth company. But I mean,
Yeah.
the people that are looking to start the companies are typically people that want the dream and want to own their business. So they're not going to do that. But I'd suggest giving it a try. And also, even if you
Not a
don't
bad
want to
start
do
to
that,
help.
yeah, I think it's great. And you can always go
Yeah.
and start. I mean, people will be upset if they essentially like train you and take you under their wing and you're their salesperson, then you go off and go start another photo booth company, that they'll probably not be happy about it. But I mean,
It
it's
depends on, it depends
on who you're doing it
because,
with. But
yeah, like I feel like there is a lot of companies that wouldn't mind that. Like, like if you have somebody that helps you in your photo booth company and they learn your system, they learn how to run an event as efficient as your own company, and they go and start off their own company, not be a bad thing for me, because if I have like an overflow of events and I need somebody to white label to, I know that person has been trained by me. So I know that I
have the
can,
same values.
yes, they understand like the workflow. They understand like the systems that we use. They understand the booths. Usually they'll buy the same booth that you use when you were training them. So, like you can send them a white label and they got it handled, and then, so it can benefit both companies. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like it's a great start. Like in the last few years, a lot of the photo booth industry, like a lot of the companies, like I feel like a lot of people have been more open-minded than like in the first 10 years ago. Like a lot of people are more open-minded about stuff. So I feel like you going and helping and working an event for an established photo booth company, it's not a negative thing like it used to be. Like I feel like a lot of us were more weary of it back in the day. But now I feel like it would benefit both companies. Like you as a new owner, or, you considering to become a new owner, you can kind of understand like how the business runs when you go help another company. You'll see like how much they invest, you can actually see like it's not just paper, it's cameras, it's backup printers, it's, when you start to understand all of that, you understand why these companies charge what they do.
Yeah. And also, I mean, just going in and working as a host, like even if you don't want to work for another company, you should at least do that, just because maybe you'll hate it. Like find out if you hate it before you drop $10,000.
Like you'll be like Jason hiding against someone.
Maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, you should. Definitely. I feel like volunteering or assisting another photo booth company is a great idea to get started. You can see like the back end, you can see like the live events in the field. So you can see a bigger picture, so you know what you're getting into. I didn't know what I was getting into when I started this.
Yeah. But frame it right. I did have someone reach out to me and ask if they could have a job because they want to start a 360 company, and it would basically be like paid training. And that certainly rubbed me the wrong way. I don't want to pay you to become my, I don't know, frame it the right way. I recently hired someone to work in the office that he had a photo booth company, and, during his interview, he told me it wasn't working out. Of course, I told him it was a conflict of interest and he's going to have to stop pursuing that if he's working for us. But I mean, you have that to fall back on too, so he's here, he's training, and he's seeing that there's way more going on in the industry than he realized. Who knows? Maybe he will be with us for years and become my new right-hand person, or maybe a year from now he'll learn enough and go off and do his own thing, which would be painful because then I'll need to start over with a new person. But, if he does that, at least we'll have a competitor in town that is reputable
and you can trust.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I've worked with some other photo booth companies, photo booth owners that have like been attendants for me, and it's been mutually beneficial. They've been able to like learn the systems and the different, because my company, we offer a lot of out of the ordinary type of experiences outside of just like the basic stripped, that photo booth that print strips. So like these other photo booth owners that come work for me, some of them have helped me out for years and years. And, they don't have a lot of business on their end. So it's beneficial for both of us. So they learn how to run a photo booth at an event, how to manage different types of services and things like that. So that's worked out well for me. And then now, some of them have gone off and, focus more back on into their business. And it's not even competition. It's,
Yeah. So, I mean, not a lot more to go over here unless you have something else. But I mean, in summary, don't let us discourage you. If you think you've got what it takes, there's room for some amazing boothers to still come and just take over and destroy the industry. But most and not trying to discourage
you. Have to be in the right mindset.
But most people fail. Like, it's just a fact. Most new photo booth companies fail. So
any business.
Yeah, it's not even
it's not even about the business. It's about your own personal mindset and like what you're prepping yourself for. Like, if you're ready to go, if you're in gear, if you're like thinking there is no option to fail, you're not going to fail. You're going to be successful. But if you're thinking you're just going to jump into this because it's easy money.
I do see a lot of people saying I have no option. I'm definitely not going to fail, and then they're also selling their equipment. Like, mindset only gets you so far, unfortunately. But I mean, I just want to be realistic. Like, you're not going to be printing money like the vendors are telling you. You more than likely will fail, and it's nothing against you. Just statistically, most photo booth companies fail, and that's just the hard truth of it. But you can be successful if you've got what it takes. And
when you're saying there's companies that like think that they can't fail and then they fail, they just not connecting with the right people, because a whole business, when you're running a business, it's not about just your willpower. It's not just about your equipment. The network that you have around you, the people you have around you matter too. Because there's been a lot of people that I've known through the years who are ready to give up, there's some that have started selling off their equipment. And just because they have the right people around them, they have the encouragement, they have been able to pick themselves up. And instead of failing, because, there's this quote about most people quit right when they're about to make it. And I found that to be true. There's been a few people that I've known that were like, okay, I'm throwing in the towel. I give up. I've done this for 4 years and I'm not making enough profit. I'm going to give up. And it's like, because they have the right people around them that have convinced them, no, you're like right at that breaking point. And like within 6 months, boom, they blow up. There's been a few people that I know that have had that type of experience. So if you have the mindset that you're not going to fail and you're about to fail, you need to start reaching out to
I agree with you. I'm just
community.
saying it takes more than a mindset. Like, you need the community. You need to have money in the bank.
Support
you need
at
to
home.
Yeah, it takes a lot more than a positive mindset to be successful, because I don't think
if you
anyone
have a positive
starts
mindset, you'll make it.
But nobody is starting with a negative mindset. Like, what percentage is saying I'm probably going to fail, but not many. There's some, but not many.
Well, it's not a negative mindset that they start with, but there's some people that start with just this is going to be just easy money. Like, I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to start selling it. I'm going to start dropping them off, and I'm just going to start making money. That's different though. That's not a negative mindset. That's just easy. Like, you think this is just going to be an easy. It's not easy. And
I've seen those posts too. Like, I just bought a photo booth. How do I find people to do it for me?
Yeah. Can someone show me how to run this? Can someone show me how to set it up? And yeah, I think if you have the mindset that you're not going to fail, I mean, if you really truly have that mindset, that that you're going to do what it takes, and you're going to reach out to the community, you're going to reach out to any sort of resources, you're going to do what it takes, you're going to network, and that is all your grind. That's all your grit. That's all you putting in foot to pavement and doing what it takes, I don't think if you have the mindset that if failure is not option, then you're going to be successful. Maybe not 600,000, maybe not 300,000, but at least you're not in a deficit. At least you can start being profitable and make a living off of it. Because, we all have different levels of what we think successful is. So,
yeah. And, the companies will tell you that, other people are charging $3,500 per event. And it's true that there are some companies that are charging $3,500 for a 360, but most are. And you definitely can't do that out the gate. Like, even if you try to, if you see everyone saying, you should be charging $3,000 for a 360. Like, a lot of those people don't know what they're talking about. Like, we all want the prices to be higher, sure, but you're not. If you get lucky enough to have your first job at $3,000, likely burn a bridge, because you're not a $3,000 company yet. So
I was going to say that. I was going to say, it's not that you can't charge $3,000 right out the gate or $3,500 right out the gate. It's just that you can't, because you don't have the knowledge it takes right out the gate to be able to deliver the type of 360 that justifies charging $3,500. So like if you're very new to the game, your 360 probably is going to be like very hazy in lighting, blurry. It's probably not going to be at the right, what is it called? Like I should know these terms.
It's okay.
I should know the shutter speed, and like your ISO might not be right. So your whole like video output is not gonna it's not gonna justify being a $3,500 360. It's not that people charging $3,500 is insane. It's just people that are charging $3,500 for a 360. It's a different level of video that they're capturing versus someone that's charging like 100, 150. And if you're new to the industry, there's no way you're going to have that type of knowledge to be able to deliver like this high def 360 that some other companies are charging. And that's not just 360s. That's what photo booths too, because if you're new, you're just not gonna, and I've talked about this before, you don't know till you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, people tell you to charge more, and you should. Like, don't be like, if you're under like $600, then you're spinning your wheels and you're not doing anything at all. But I mean, obviously, you need to learn your craft, and you can't do that at a premium price. That's just realistic. No matter what people tell you, those people that are telling you that started low as well. Lap started low. I started low. I wish I would have increased my prices sooner, but I couldn't have increased them from day one. That's just not realistic.
And then the education and the knowledge that I gained through the years and the experience that I've gained through the years, Jason as well, is like, that is what allows us to charge what we do. Like we're able to charge what we do because the knowledge that we have actually makes our service very much different than like someone that's new to the game.
Don't compare yourself. Like, I'm sure there's companies that are newer and looking at my output thinking, what does he have that I don't? Because I'm better than him. And there's a good chance that you are, because honestly, our outputs are only at just above average, and that's it. But we've got the relationships, we've got the longevity, we've got the tech support, we've got the reliability. Like we've got the reputation that we've built for 11 years. So I mean, everyone's different.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was one of those people when I first started. I was one of those people who was like, wow, my output looks better than that. Why are they booking these events? And through the years, I've learned that it's a whole, it's so much more than just your output,
Yeah. Well, for Lap, it's just output. Her output's amazing. We're just above average. We could certainly improve in some areas.
That took a lot of, I mean, like my output took a lot of endless sleepless nights and a lot of research, a lot of R&D, a lot of conversations with a lot of different photo booth companies. Like,
if you haven't been to Lap's Instagram yet, like, go stop over there. Like, every photo looks like a magazine cover. It's ridiculous.
Thanks. I mean, of course we drop the ball sometimes too, but yeah, I mean, you can make it. You can make a successful photo booth business starting today. You just have to be in the right mindset. And if your mindset is, you're just thinking money is going to fall from the sky, you're likely, I don't want to discourage you, but you're likely going to fail, because if you really think that you buying a photo booth just will print you money, you are in the wrong mindset. Like, you have to be ready to really be sacrificing your life to make this business what it is. If you're working if you're investing 100 hours a week into your photo booth business, you will be successful. If you're thinking you're just gonna start hiring, teenagers to like deliver photo booths, there are companies that do that type of business in volume and are successful, but it's a very small number of companies.
And they've built that up over a long period. Like, I don't know any like real part-time boothers. Like, even the people that have full-time jobs are still full-time boothers. Like, it's part of their life.
They're full-time boothers with like part-time gigs, because unless you're pouring everything, like, I didn't grow my company just, overnight with very little effort. Like, people tell me, I always get questioned, like, when do I even sleep? Because I pour so much of my time into my business to be able to get it to have grown to what it is. It was not just buying a booth and being on its way. I mean, I did a lot of R&D. I had a lot of nights just researching, a lot of research, and a lot of testing, a lot of like, oh my gosh, going through so much equipment, buying this cable, buying that cable, buying this camera, buying that camera, just trying to figure out like what's the best for your system. Like, if you're not putting in a lot of hours into your business, and that's what any business, there's no way you're gonna really be. The chances of you being successful is very low. I can't think there's no way, because there's some companies that do it.
Yeah. So in closing, we have an episode called, I believe it's called Starting Somewhere, which is essentially goes over like some basic core skills that you would need to start a successful photo booth business, from equipment to knowledge and understanding. And I'm not sure if we went over money or not, but I would definitely recommend checking that out. We also did one about lighting that's good for starting up. And there's another one I was just thinking about, but I'd say a lot of our content is probably best for people that are like 80,000 and above, like getting to that next level. But we do still have a lot of content that is really good for new first-year companies, or I'm looking to get into the photo booth industry, that would be very useful. Like this one and the Starting Somewhere are very good starting points. So, yeah. Anything else left?
No. Hopefully we didn't discourage anybody. Just we want everybody to have a
hopefully
more
we
realistic...
discouraged the right people that we're going to fail anyways, and we saved you some money.
Okay, I like how you worded that, but I mean, I didn't think that. I didn't think this was going to be an entire business. So I would have been one of those people. But, you know, like I had the mindset, I had the drive, and that's what got me through, you know, and I had the right community around me. I've been very blessed with that. And my business grew, I want to say overnight, but not overnight, you know, like the first 4 years I was in a deficit. And then after that, once I connected with the right people and understood the business better and understood like what it took to be successful, what your like key components were to be successful. I mean, I grew overnight once I grasped that, but it took a lot of time and investment to get to that point where I understood a lot of those core concepts.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the girl, I'm sure she won't, I didn't mention her before because I don't know if she wants a shout out, but I'll throw it out there, and she could be mad at me if she didn't. But so she's been in the DJ world. Her name's Des, and she came in and talked to me about starting a photo booth company. She's been in the groups a lot recently, asking all the right questions. So if you see Des asking some questions, help her out.
Help her.
Yeah. She's gonna be great. She's already got the leg up. She's been in business for a long time. She's already in the event industry. She's already got bookings, and she hasn't bought a booth yet. She knows all the right people and has all the right connections. I mean, she knows Shannon, so that gives her a good starting point.
Yeah.
By itself. And also,
but you can always tell, Jason, like what you're describing, like people who are asking the right questions, people are putting in the right amount of work. You can always tell who's going to make it through that initial year. I think the failure is like the first like 1 to 2 years. You can see a lot of us who have been in this for a long time. You usually can tell, like, just based off of their questions and the things that they're doing, and online, offline, whether they're going to be successful. It's a different type of mindset.
And I guess just to give proper credit, again, I don't think he would care if we mention his name, but the person that I'm not sure if he, just because a lot of people always message me afterwards and say, who are you talking about? And a lot of times
he's been around before COVID.
Was he around before COVID?
Yeah.
Then
are we talking about the same person?
I'm talking about Justin with Booth Me Up.
Yeah.
Okay, so he just wasn't on my radar before COVID, but he definitely exploded into this industry. Like, there was just a couple companies in the industry that had seen some kind of success, and I was able to break into that. And I haven't seen anyone do that nearly as successful as Justin has. They said I didn't consider him competition, then he was, and I think he's certainly surpassed what we're doing now. The creativity that he's doing is really fantastic. So.
And he's such a sweetheart too. Yeah.
I think he's a nice guy. I don't know if I'd say a sweetheart, but
okay, he's cool people too.
no, really great guy. You can reach out to him if you have any questions about what he's doing. He is and super technical. That certainly helped him. Anyways, thanks as always, and
thanks, guys.
Chat with you next time.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, ProBooth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.